What's going on, y'all? I'm Pastor Kareem with this week's Reset for Life moment. A few years ago, this is actually while I was a teenager, I was out with a group of my friends and we were walking down this road. And while we're walking on this road, we happened to see this large group of people. And there were a bunch of people that are around our age, and we were kind of like, what's going on over there? And so we make our way over to this crowd. And once we get to the crowd, it looks like there's this event that's happening, and we find out that it's free. And so because it's free, broke young people, what did we do? We went in and we went to go into the event. And so we get into this event. We didn't know much about it, but we find out once we're in it, it's just a bunch of local talent, and they're just showcasing their gifts and their talents. And so while we were there, it got really, really packed. So packed that we weren't able to actually see the stage. And so we were there, and basically at this moment we were just hearing the talent, the artists. And then it gets to this one point where there's this particular voice that we hear up on the stage. And we all kind of turned and looked at each other and we're like, is that? And we named one of our friends. We assumed that we knew this friend's voice and that this was the friend that was singing, but we couldn't actually see the stage. And what ends up happening after that is we start arguing with one another. And what we're arguing about is saying, and our friend's name was Stephen. We're like, that's Stephen singing. And all of us except one, we're like, that is Stephen. And this one friend is like, no, it's not. And he becomes adamant. And we're like, are you crazy? And so he gets so frustrated with us arguing with him that what he does is he leaves us. He leaves the crowd and he goes and finds a spot where he climbs up onto like this platform and he looks up. He nods, he gives us a nod, and he comes back and he's like, I told you guys. I told you it wasn't Stephen. And so we're there, and even after he said that, we still didn't believe him. And so to settle this debate, I end up just calling our friend Stephen. And Stephen answered the phone, and I'm like, where you at, man? And he goes, I'm out with my mom shopping. I go, how long you been shopping with your mom? And he says, basically the whole day. And so I look to my friend and I'm like, you were right. It wasn't him. And he's like, I told you. Now I tell you guys this story for one reason. That reason is we've been on this series with our Reset for Life moments. And we've been asking this question, when God? And for today, my question for you is, when God challenges you on your perspective. See, our friends, the group of us, we were there and we were challenged and we believed that was not our friend. And so even when our friend was telling us truth, we did not want to hear. And so what did he do? He went up and he went to a higher ground. And Colossians chapter 3 kind of speaks to this. This is what it says in Colossians chapter 3. It says, since then you have been raised with Christ. Set your hearts on things above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Set your mind on the things above, not on earthly things, or we could call it lowly things, for you died and your life is now hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, appears, then you also will appear with him in glory. So put to death, therefore, whatever belongs to your earthly nature. And so the question I have for you guys, I have a couple of questions for you is, when you're in a situation and you know and you're getting direction and the direction that you're getting is do this or do that, do you fight with that and say, I just don't believe it? I mean, even the people around me don't believe this thing, and decide to go follow that thought? Or do you say, I'm going to get off of where I'm at and look above, look to Christ and see if he's seeing this thing in that way? The second question I have for you is this, is that even when you go to that higher ground, or somebody else goes to that higher ground and then comes back to you and gives you direction that is from above, from God, are you willing to listen to it? Oftentimes we get direction and the direction that we get, or we get people talking to us or speaking into our lives, and the things that are being spoken to us, we don't like what is being said. And so we fight against it. So the question is, are you fighting against the things that are from above? Have you gotten so comfortable with the things that are natural with the people around you? or the circumstances around you that you're not willing to listen to what God is saying to you? So again, the question, when God challenges you on your perspective, are you willing to not look through that situation through your own lens and get to a higher spot, a higher place, the highest place, and hear from God from above to give you the right direction, to give you truth? That's it. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope this challenges you, and I hope this is speaking into somebody's life, because maybe even right now, God is speaking to you about a situation and you don't like what's being said. And so what you'd rather do is stick with what the majority is saying, and you're not willing to go to what is coming from above. And I think today what God is trying to say to you is stop looking from your lens, this lowly lens, and get to this lens that is the best perspective, the perspective from God, so that you can get real truth. I'm Pastor Kareem, and this was this week's Reset for Life moment. Have a great week, guys.